Hello, Scorpio. This reading is for you. It is for Scorpio sun signs, obviously, but also Scorpio risings and ascendants and those who have a Scorpio moon. It is a timeless reading. Whenever you come across this reading, these are the messages that are for you at this time that resonate and help you move forward to create the world that you've always wanted here on Earth. So today we have the foundation. I have these Starseed Oracle cards, so they will create the beginning of your reading, and then we'll get extra messages from this. So let's go right into your reading, Scorpio. So first card, Starkeeper. Cosmic Ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded. Yes, absolutely. And your second card, this is really beautiful. Trust the timing. Trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. So yeah, I do feel the sense of urgency with you, Scorpio. And for those of you who are Scorpio risings too, some of you may be late bloomers. So just bear in mind that everything comes in timing. And also, I know you've heard this 100 times before, but we are going to say it again. Being told it and feeling on a cellular level are two different things. Time is non-linear. What we consider time, yes, obviously we get older. Obviously we see our kids grow up and they get older, so we can't say that, it's completely a concept. But in the way that we are dealing with time here is completely non-consequential. It really, really doesn't matter. And the one thing that you do, because of your intensity, when you do feel as though you're not doing enough, the first thing you do is block yourself in. You can turn that energy, that great wisdom that you have, against yourself very quickly. And the first thing you turn against is time. I don't have enough time for this. I should have done this earlier. And that's a very difficult block to be able to come out of, obviously. Now, the timing for you, again, for some Scorpios, it really is about being somewhat of a late bloomer. Now, even if you've been in the industry, or even if you've been doing what you've been doing for a very, very long time, the heights in which you intend to reach may come later on in life, because there is a pacing to the Scorpio. There's a pacing to everything that they do, and nothing that they do is done in vain. Even though sometimes you wonder why you've gone round and round in circles, there is always a reason, and there's always more to dig in and find out. You are the great seeker of knowledge. The other thing is that you, even though you're water, you're a fixed sign. And there's two ways of seeing Scorpio too. Sometimes you have to be water. The water goes deep, but sometimes it's good for the water to flow. And even though you are fixed signed, you can take that to the extreme and get stuck in your ways and stay where you are and keep wading through the water when life is actually urging you to move forward. So I think the first message that we're getting is really you have such an attunement to yourself, but also, the trust for the universe. There's not always been a lot of trust there. You have often, and this happens a lot, it's not just Scorpios, but it is coming up in your reading. People often mistake society or the universe for the world. There's a lot that you wouldn't necessarily trust in the world because you feel everything to such great degree, but the universe is something that not to turn your back on. And for some of you, you've mistook that, or you've misaligned yourself with the understanding of the world. And even though you can isolate yourself from the world sometimes, that's usually isolation can be quite dangerous for people, but for Scorpios, it's necessary because they have to learn everything on their own terms before they can integrate. They're such a powerful sign. And if they take on too much information from others or from society at large, it can get very detrimental. So I feel as though you've done the right thing by pulling out at some point in your life and taking the space that you need. But you've also not understood, or you've not taken into account, that it's the universe that has your back. It's society that you're trying to learn from and understand about and integrate the information about. But the universe always stands still, always there, ever changing, but also with you. And that's something that you've wanted to do on your own. So reintegrating back into the universal sense of, back into working with your intuition, which is impeccable, by the way, working back into working with the universe in such a large terms takes the pressure and a lot of the weight that you feel on your shoulders, Scorpio. Let's get these manifesting cards working for you here and see what we've got. So, yeah, this one's calling. When I surrender my will to the care of spirit and the universe, I attune my energy with an ever-present stream of well-being. Yes, you can be very hard on yourself. You can also be very hard on the world in some ways. And the way in which you do that is very unique. You're actually very gracious, but you actually take on the harshness of the world and you pull it within, and it becomes a very heavy heart. You actually have an incredibly tender soul. Although I'll be honest with you, you know, if you're mad, I wouldn't get in your way. But that rarely happens because, you know yourself that when you get to that point, there's very little that can bring you back. So you don't allow yourself to get to that point per se. When I introduce joy to a situation, I change the vibrational frequency of what's happening around me. So I think for you, Scorpio, the main message that I'm getting here is that you're so used to dealing with the depths. And there's nothing that you won't go and do. There's nothing that you won't, you know, witness or appreciate or experience. You're definitely here to experience every point in life. Not all of it's been good, but there's always been great aspects to your life. There's never really been a point where you didn't think you would be able to pull yourself out of it, for the most part. And for those who have not felt that way, they've gone on to a different place and figured that out themselves. But for those of you who are still here, you also understand that darkness is very, very real. And that darkness, you operate from that darkness a little bit. You actually motivate from fear sometimes. You actually motivate from that darkness. That's something that you can do because you have a huge amount of control. The universe is asking you to move from that vibration now and actually work from a lighter sense of self. Now, this is something that you probably just moved into. This is something that an understanding that you're already probably doing, even if you've just taken those baby steps and you're not quite sure how to do it. The idea that everything is going to be okay is very difficult for you because you're used to ups and downs, and you do understand, probably more than any other sign, to light there is dark. And you've equated yourself with the darkness for a really, really long time. You would be great writers, definitely great activists, and you certainly would be great creative people in any way, because you do understand not only intrinsically what darkness feels like, but how it operates. So I feel as though people do come to you to be able to project that into the world. Or if you're, you know, an actor or a creative person, you know, they would come to you and you're able to write from that depth. You have a lot of depth. Very few people will understand every aspect of you because you don't always show every aspect. You're also a very private person. But it's a very specific kind of private. It's a none of your business kind of private. Like, you genuinely don't understand why somebody would want to know that. It seems completely irrelevant to you. The way in which you live, you have certain aspects of self. And it's not that you expect people to step up to it, but you don't expect yourself to come out of that and compromise in that way. There's definitely aspects of self that you hold dear, and you're going to keep them there. So, you know, when you're set in your ways, you can be set, but there's also, you also can be talked to in a way. If somebody can come at you in a way and give you a reason, like they almost have to really work with you in order to sort of shift your perspective, you're willing to do it. You're open in a certain way, but you're not open for the sake of being open. The universe here is asking you to work from the light, from you have a high vibration, but it's calibrated by your darkness. You're being asked to rise into the light and integrate the darkness that you've been through. So you're working with the darkness in a completely different way. Now, there's outer situations that would have led you to this point already. So it would be easier for you to make this change, or the shift, we would say, be better for you. Yes, the start's reversed, but don't worry about that. Yeah. Whatever it is that you've wanted, you've kept everything open insofar as, like, you know, let's see if we do this, you know, doing things again for the experience of it. Now you're very particular about what it is and who you spend time with. And that's really wonderful. We've got Judgment reversed. I'm getting called to do one more here. This one's calling to me here. Oh yeah, brand new beginnings. See, that's absolutely perfect. I keep that in there on purpose. So, you know, you have at times been, the way in which you work with judgment with yourself is very interesting. You're sort of very hard on yourself, but at the same time, you don't care. You don't hold yourself in any kind of boundary or situation that you need to explain yourself to anyone. And that's kept you in a very unique situation. And it's given you the opportunity to sort of open up and expand in ways that, especially creatively, that people haven't been able to do or have the courage to do. But at the same time, it's kept you boxed in a little bit. And it's kept you from understanding what you truly wanted, or maybe believing that you could really receive it, or wondering if you really did want it. It kept you a little bit disconnected. Again, that's shifted. What it is that you've wanted, and what you've actually wanted, Scorpio, is to live from the light and to integrate the darkness. And you are ready to do that now. You are ready to integrate joy in a very, very specific way. And also the way in which it works for your specific way is that you can integrate this joy and really highlight what it is that you're supposed to do in this lifetime. Now, a lot of this lifetime is about, is redefining what it is that we're here to do. It's how do I say it? It's not taking away, but it's redefining the idea of cruelty. It's redefining how we treat each other. It's redefining what it is we are really here to do on this earth. And you've gone all shapes and sizes and backwards and forwards in order to do that, but that's always remained at the core of who you are. Now, the way in which you're going to approach this is it's a little bit different. Your vibration is different now. The way in which you're moving forward, you're utilizing your voice in a brand new way because you're speaking from the light, and that's being encouraged. The joy in which you have achieving, you know, this understanding of self and a profound sense of love that you never thought that you would be able to attract is now here for you. So speaking from the light, speaking from your sense of being a light being, sensing the light in all things, and also staying grounded in that energy of light. It sounds weird, right? How can I ground into something that's light? It doesn't make any sense. But you, as a Scorpio, are the very sign that will be able to not only do it, but teach others how to do it too. Everything about you in some ways is sort of the opposite, the extremes. This is definitely a life where you've gone to the extremes. You've figured out how to do all of this stuff. Now it's about working instead of the darkness, through the light, and elevating what you do, shining new light on it, and moving your cause, if you want to call it that, moving your path, what it is that you're here to do, light years forward through moving with the light and your vibrational energy. So this is an incredible time, obviously a new beginning for those of you who have just started moving in to this brand new way of being. And again, don't worry about the timeline. This was always supposed to happen at this timing. Also, there's a timing that's shifted within, you know, the world. And that was something that had to come into your timeline too. So there's many different reasons why you're stepping up and you're moving into this new energy now. But again, new beginnings. And it will feel like a new beginning. It actually is just a shift in perspective, but it's a new beginning for you, and you will utilize it in a very, very powerful way. Now, don't get me wrong. You still have that darkness. You will always be an integration, a perfect light and dark match, but you'll be working from the light with the integrated darkness in a completely different way now. And that will prove much more powerful for you. And adding to the power that you already own, Scorpio, there's nothing that can stop you. So if this resonated with you, do let me know in the comments. And it was an absolute pleasure to read for you, Scorpio. Until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye.